All right, just took the header to a shop. I took it to these guys, Brent Darich, I don't know how to pronounce your last name, Motorsports, located in Ambridge, Pennsylvania. I called them, asked them if they wouldn't mind taking a look to see if they could bend that exhaust for me. They mentioned that it's stainless steel, it's pretty fucking difficult to bend, which is why I was having so much difficulty with it. I'm gonna be picking that up tomorrow and we can finish the exhaust. So we're waiting on the jets for the carburetor, the headers for the exhaust, which is frustrating, but went out for a drive, got my milkshake, a little calmed down now. And the other thing I wanted to do to the bike is the installation of this SSR suspension Racing Shock. Heard pretty okay reviews about these. These are basically knockoff Ohlins, I believe. So to get this started, as you can see, I have the bike hooked up to a crane. I'm just going to lift it up enough so that the swing arm has pretty much zero tension on it from the shock or it resting on this swing arm stand. So we're gonna start lifting it a little bit. Whoops. I'm just gonna drop it a tiny bit. I think that's probably gonna be perfect. So we leave it there. Tell you what, this bike seems like it's going to be pretty cool. It's just been frustrating having to do all this extra work to get it to run. I did call Venom Motorsports to let them know that we could not get the carburetor to accept fuel. Weren't sure why. Of course, they're not going to do anything about it, but I did want to let them know. I also called them to replace this side fairing piece because it is broken up here and there's a portion of it that's broken underneath. Unfortunately came in shipping that way, and they mentioned that unfortunately that does happen. Not upset about it. They're replacing it. The bike does come with a 6-month warranty for, you know, faulty components. Let's start with removing the bottom portion of the shock. And then the top portion, then we'll install the new one, the reverse order, top and then bottom. 12 on this side, probably a 14 on this side. It's got some wiggle room there. It might be a 13. Nope, 14. 13's a weird number. It's usually not that. But wanted to be safe. Might need the breaker bar for this one. This thing was definitely on there. Should be able to go back to this now. Now our shock is loose. Wow, we were almost perfect in there. Now I gotta get the top. Brake reservoir is in the way, so I'm gonna have to remove that. Of course it's not a 12. Alright. Cool. And now, boom, we have a shock. Kind of. There we go. Not even used. On the side with all of our other parts. Alright, let's take a look at this shock. You get a little toolkit. Nothing else in the box. Toolkit is your adjuster with the Allen for the adjuster locking nut. This will go in my bike's toolkit. So that way, if we need to adjust it on the fly, we can. So here it is, the SSR Racing Shock. I'm just gonna throw it in, see if it fits. I have little to no wiggle room. Looks like I am gonna have to raise the bike up just a tad to get this to fit. Hopefully it doesn't affect anything too important. See if that did the trick. When in doubt, use a hammer. Let's not scratch that up. Looks like we're about dead on. Let's see if we can get this through. Almost, so close. Not sure why, but it's almost as if it's a bit crooked on the bottom, which might be the case. Looks like it needs to go down a little bit, just a smidge. It's just hard to tell when you don't have someone to eyeball it. Oh, it wants to. Yeah, there we go. Got through. Shock does look like it fits, and hopefully we have room to adjust it for whenever we need to. And I'm gonna get some Loctite. It does look pretty cool though. That's pretty damn tight. We'll go to the other side. Oh no! I don't think that's coming out anytime soon. Get our brake reservoir back where it needs to be. Whew, my back. Okay, cool. Pretty pleased with how easy that was compared to everything else we've done. Let's lower the bike, get it off the crane, clean up a little bit. I know this is cringy and a huge mess, but I am just trying to get everything out of the way for now. Get the bike back on its own legs. Ooh, it feels firm already. Still got a little bit of time. Wonder if I can remove this clutch cable. I'm sorry, not clutch cable, choke cable. We need the clutch. Although, this clutch still feels pretty janky. Feels like it's rubbing and vibrating. I'll tinker with this later, see if I can't get this choke cable removed along with its switch. Boop, 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 boop. But hey, you know what came in today? I got this nifty little fuel mixture screw designed to replace the fuel mixture screw that we were having so much trouble tuning with, which is located really inconveniently on the bottom of the front of the carburetor where it meets the intake. This lets you turn your air fuel mixture screw by hand and also lets you count how many turns you make with each rotation or how many quarters of a turn. So that way you won't have to go underneath your bike or remove your carburetor to do adjustments, because doing it that way takes a long time. Still need headers for the new exhaust for the faux Shimura. I really hope to God they bend it enough. I really don't want this to be a bigger deal than it needs to be because of all the crazy shenanigans that have been going on. It'll be nice to get it taken care of. I did, however, purchase this IMS shifter. It says right here it's actually made for Yamahas and Kawasaki's, so hopefully it fits. I may have ordered the wrong one by accident, which is my own fault. But hey, it comes with stickers. Now from what I understand, this moves. So when you crash, if you fall, it'll fold in. Not bad. Oh, it's crooked. Oh well. Good enough. Ooh, look at this. A loose screw. Been finding these all over the bike. A lot of loose screws. Let's see if we can't get it out before it causes issues later. If it doesn't cause issues, it will cause an insufferable rattling noise, and we're trying to avoid that if we can. And alas, a fairing screw. Lots of loose screws, man. Yeah, I don't know about this little guy. I think I'll wait to put the shifter on. If we put the shifter on, it's actually going to sit further back, like in here, and I am a little worried about clearance. Not something I feel like worrying about right now. I'm gonna set this aside. Look at that, much cleaner. So, apologize to do a couple things off camera, nothing major though. I did remove the choke assembly off of here. It was pretty easy though. One black screw in the front, one black screw in the back. This can pop off. You might need to move your clutch assembly down a little bit. Entire choke assembly just fell right out. Don't need to worry about that. I also noticed that this shakes around, being that the hole that holds this in place was drilled just a little bit too big for the actual pin that's supposed to sit in it. If you plan on keeping these handlebars, what you can do is you can wrap some electrical tape a couple times over the bar where the hole is, and then when you get this in position, it'll kind of squish it down in there and hold it a little bit more firmly. Since I'm going to be installing the Pro Tapers at some point, I'm not really worried about this. It's not a big deal. It does what I need to do. It doesn't really move around when I use it, and the grip is tight anyway. So I do have to reiterate though that these grips suck. They are so bad. They're basically a sort of malleable plastic. Definitely not like anything I've used before, and even on this side, the throttle tube is pretty shaky, pretty plasticky, and when the bike runs, this thing vibrates like crazy if you're not holding it. I also did manage to get the keyhole mechanism off of the fairing. I also threw my toolkit with the SSR Shock adjustment tools in the back of the seat, just so I don't forget it. Now one more thing I want to do is throw the mirrors on. It would probably be a good idea to have the mirrors while I'm riding around, just in case. To install the mirrors, you have a right and left side. It should be pretty easy to tell. The right one will stick out like this. The left one will stick out the opposite way. Take this nut, bring it back as far as we can. If you'll be permanently attaching these, highly advise you use Loctite. I'll be using bar end mirrors on the new Pro Taper, so I'm not worried about it. But you're gonna throw these in as far as they will go. Right there feels like a good place for them to sit. It's getting a little snug just on its own. And then you'll be using this nut to lock it in place. Although I'm going to tighten that once I sit on the bike. I'm gonna go ahead and do the other side real quick, and then sit on the bike, and then adjust them, and then fully tighten this nut down. That'll lock it. If you want me to be perfectly honest, I hate these mirrors. I think they're ugly. Never been a fan of this style. This one doesn't seem to want to go in properly. I don't know what's going on with this one. Oh, there we go. You have to wiggle it back and forth, which is odd. Feels like it's cross-threading, but maybe not. I don't know. Had to wiggle it to get it started, otherwise it was just locking into itself. It seems like right here's a good stopping point. Going to hand tighten this nut down. I really need some actual crescent wrenches, like legit sizes, because this thing is really good at stripping screws. It also appears, as you can probably tell, I reclamped this on super crooked. The brake lever is all the way down here. Feels pretty comfortable, and the clutch is all the way up here. So we're gonna fix that before we continue adjusting these. Right there feels like an okay spot. Kind of also want to adjust it to your comfort. That seems like the best I can get. Seems a little bit higher than the brake. It's still comfortable. Definitely better. So now I can go back to finalizing these adjustments. Alright, that side seems just about perfect. And nice and snug, so that way whenever we go to adjust this, it's not going to come undone. Even though I will be removing these mirrors, I do want to make sure it's right for while I do have them. That seems fair. Again, if you plan on keeping these mirrors, do yourself a favor and use Loctite. I will not be keeping them, so I will not be using Loctite. But there we go. Have our mirrors figured out. They also spin based on what you need. Do have to say, I love this dash. I love how it's multicolored. It does have a clock, which is nice. You get your miles. Look, 0 miles. You have yet to ride this thing. If you are curious on how to set your clock and your background color, if you have this bike, you just hold the power button, and then you can hit the clear button to change the minute, and then the 10th of the minute, and then your hour. And then when it starts flashing like this, I don't know if the camera is picking up the flashing, you can hit the clear button and changes the color. So let's see, we got yellow. I guess this would be like their white color. You have your dark blue, you have a green, a light blue, a red, and then your pinkish purple. And then you hit mode to select it.